Hello everybody and welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Beltran, founder and owner of Become Your Best Consulting, and today I made this training and this was designed specifically for all you sales professionals out there. You know who I'm talking about. If you pick up that phone and you got to make that cold call, if you got to pick up the phone and make that dial, this is for you. So let's get started. This is how to make cold calls. So let's get started here. Cold calls. First, you must establish a cold call mindset. It all starts in the mindset. Let's talk a little bit further about this here. There's going to be a lot of no's in your journey in making phone calls and the outbound call. There's going to be a lot of no's, but there will be yeses. There's a lot of customers that will need your product or services. But on the flip side, there will be a lot of customers that will not need your product or service. What you have to remember and have this type of mindset is that you got to get past all of the no's in order to get to the yeses. Once again, you got to get to past all of the no's to get to the yeses. There's going to be a lot of calls. Hello, this is Ralph. Click. Yes, you're going to get hung up on. I've been hung up on plenty of times, but that's just part of the sales process and part of the sales game. You're going to get hung up on, you're going to get told no, but you're going to find the customers that say yes. And those are the customers that you're looking for. So continue to dial, but in your mind, know that there will be yeses past the no's. Let's talk a little bit about the cold call itself. It's still one of the most effective sales strategies till today. I've been in sales for 30 years and the cold call is still the most effective sales strategy to get business. Let's talk a little bit further about this here. You could prospect in many different ways by email, text, door knocking, follow-up, dropping off flyers. All of those strategies will work, but the most effective sales strategy is to pick up that telephone and to make that phone call and reach the owner, the manager, the decision maker via telephone, a direct contact. Let's talk to all the sales professionals out there. You know who you are. This is still the most hated sales strategy. Picking up the telephone is still one of the most feared sales strategies in sales. Let's talk a little bit further about this here. As a sales coach, I get a lot of questions about what are the best ways to start a sales call? What's the best strategy? What's the best method I could use to pick up the phone and make that call? We got to back up a few steps. First, it starts with the mindset. You got to prepare yourself and be ready for this. You must use a call script, and you have to practice this call script daily. That way you're well prepared in saying the call script. But let's talk about the call script here. You do not want it to sound robotic. You do not want it to sound robotic. It has to be natural. It has to come natural, the way it's flowing, the way you're saying your words. The only way for this to happen is for you to continue to practice over and over. Continue to practice over and over. With repetition, you'll get more comfortable in saying your call script. But you do need a call script. It's a must that you have a call script to stay on track and keep your conversation on the right path moving forward. Now let's talk about making follow-up calls. Once you reach the prospect, a customer, and you provide a proposal or agreement, now you're following up, or even trying to set up an appointment, now you're following up. Let's talk numbers here. They say it takes an average of 5 to 8 follow-up calls just to reach a prospect or a customer. 5 to 8 calls. And then there's stats out there that there's the average to 2 to 3 calls that every sales rep is making. So if the sales rep is making 2 to 3 calls and it takes from 5 to 8 calls to reach the prospect, 2 to 3 calls will not cut it. You will not reach prospects that way. You must get on the phone and you must make those dials. It has to be from 5 to 8. This is just to contact them. This is not talking products or services. This is just contacting them. Once you contact them, then you still got to schedule the appointment and go forward. So once again, you must make multiple dials, multiple attempts to reach a prospect. If you're door knocking, you also must have a call script. Let's talk about this now. It's very, very similar to picking up the phone and making a cold call to a customer or prospect and they really don't even know you. It's the same as walking into a business And the owner, manager, doesn't know who you are and you don't know who they are. So it's cold. So you have to have a call script and walk in, but you have to be confident on track and saying, the reason for my visit is I was in the area visiting a customer and I thought I stopped by and introduced myself. There has to be a reason. You got to be clear and precise on the reason for the stop by. Let's move forward here to next slide. Cold calling methods that can be used is sell, texting somebody, and then emailing them. It's a must that you use these multiple outlets and forms of communication to find out how the prospect or customer prefers to be communicated. Let's talk a little bit further about this here. Every customer or prospect is going to have a preference on the way that they prefer to be communicated with. The best way to do this is to ask them up front, what's your preference of communication? Would you like me to call you? Would you like for me to text you or email you? How would you prefer to be communicated moving forward? That's the easiest and simplest way. Let me repeat that one more time because this is a mistake that happens with many, many sales reps. The question is simple and easy. Moving forward, what's your preference of communication? Would you like for me to call you, text you, or email you? And then after that, be quiet and let the customer answer. Whatever preference they give you, use that preference of communication and do not steer away from it. That's where they're comfortable communicating with you. That's the way you need to stick to. So with cold calling, practice makes purpose. Practice makes perfect. Yeah, repetition's key. You have to continue to repeat yourself over and over with these follow-up calls or with these cold calls. You have to practice. You have to say it over and over. The more that you practice your sentences, the more that you practice your words, the more that you say your script, the better and easier it's going to flow and it's going to come out and it's going to sound natural and not robotic. And that's the key. That's what you want. You want the cold call to sound natural. You want it to come out easy and flow easy. So once again, the only way to do that is continue to practice it over and over. You must be prepared for what's coming. Every cold call is going to have an objection, so you must have your objection handling down. If you don't, I highly recommend you look into one of our other courses on objection handling. And you take this course and you start learning, okay, if the customer says, I need to talk this over with my partner, what's your response going to be? If the customer says, I'm going to think about it, what's your response going to be? And these are a couple of objections that are going to come up during the sales call. So you must be prepared and ready for these objections. And that's only going to happen by you preparing yourself and by learning objection handling and then practicing it over and over again. Once again, repetition is key here. When you're calling or stopping by a customer, you must be clear and precise on the reason for the call or the reason for the visit. Let's talk a little bit further about this here. You must be clear and precise. The reason for my visit is I was right down the street dropping off an agreement and I thought I'd stop by and introduce myself. The reason for my call is I was following up on the proposal. The reason for my call is I was following up on my email. You always must have a clear and precise reason, and the customer will respect that and that you're respecting their time. So let's talk about this here. In order to be successful in cold calling, you must get rid of that fear of rejection early. It's a must. You get rid of that fear of rejection early. So practice and practice until you get good at what you're doing, get good at making calls. The best thing to do is get rid of that fear of rejection early. Okay, so let's talk about call blitz here on cold calling. So you want to create a list of your current customers, a list of prospects, a list of customers that you're looking to do business with. And then you want to make calls and reach out to scheduled appointments and overall close deals. With this call blitz, it's been very effective sales strategies I used in many, many years in sales with many sales teams. Many successful sales reps will pick up the phone or have a call list that they'll use and do a call blitz. Let's say the call blitz is for 1 hour, 60 minutes of nonstop picking up the phone and dialing and doing nothing but that, not checking email, not checking your phone or looking at social media, but picking up the phone in 1 hour of full dials, just strictly dials. That's a call blitz, and that's an effective way to put new business in your pipeline and gain new business. So when you're on the telephone and you're doing a call blitz, right? And let's say you're getting a lot of no's, more than you would want. What you got to do is you got to self-reflect. You got to say, what's going on with me? What's going on with me on the phone? It's important that you understand what's not going good and what's going good. That way you could work on what's going good. And then if it's something ain't working good, try to get good at it, or just take it out of the equation overall. So once again, if you're not good at something on the phone, try to become better at by practicing. And if it still doesn't work out, just take it out of the equation. Take it out of the cold calling, the strategies, and all of that. Insert something new if you want to try something new. All right. So when you get stumped, you got to ask yourself, what would I do in this situation if I was on the other end, right? Because you always want to understand what the customer is dealing with on the other side of the phone, right? So just try to put yourself in their shoes and say, okay, maybe they want to hear this, maybe I should ask that. And then you'll kind of get a feel for where they're at. Ask them open-ended questions and get some feeling of where they're at. What kind of attention you got from them. Open-ended questions like, tell me more. Tell me a little bit about that, right? In order for you to become a master in cold calling, you have to prepare yourself. You have to have repetition on you got to have a call script. All of this needs to be in place. When you become a master at cold calling, this will open up many doors and opportunities for you. Let me tell you a little bit further. This is one of the most hardest sales strategies, and if you could become good at it, this will open up many doors and opportunities for you. Remember the slide back. It takes 5 to 8 calls to reach a prospect, right? 5 to 8 calls. So if you could get good on the call, there's a percentage of business out there that is not being taken or not being sold to because of the fear of picking up the phone and making the phone call. So get good at the phone, pick up the phone, make those dials, and there's plenty of opportunities out there for you. So once again, in order to become a master in the art of sales and to become an expert in selling, you must first master the cold call. So once again, my name is Ralph Beltran, founder and owner of Become Your Best Consulting, and I hope that you learned something in this sales training on making the cold calls. And we have plenty of other sales training courses on our YouTube channel at Become Your Best Consulting. So take a look at us, and you could also find us on social media platforms. We have a lot of free content on sales training, on cold calling, follow-up, customer relationship building, a whole bunch of sales training. So go ahead, feel free to stop by our channel, like it, subscribe, and we look forward to learning and growing with you. Thank you and bye.